Welcome back to the vlog. We're doing a $300 buy-in at the 1-3 game, and I go through a big dry spell right at the beginning. An hour and a half later, I have $315 to show for, and the first hand worth playing I pick up is King Jack offsuit in the hijack. Not even that great, but it's been so long since I've seen anything decent. I decided to open it for 13. The cutoff immediately challenges me when he raises to 35. I'm the only player that wants to make the call. We're going heads up to the flop, and it's Jack 5-10. I check to the cutoff. He leads into me for 30, and I complete with the top pair on the board. The turn comes the 3 of spades. I check, willing to call, and my opponent checks back. The river comes out, the 8 of hearts. 3 hearts on the board now. I'm going into check call mode like I've been all hand. I check to my opponent. He bets 50, and of course I make the snap call. 234 in the pot, and I'm scooping it. He shows ace queen of spades. It's no good. Scooping a decent pot. Finally, after waiting all this time, a little over 400 in my stack, and the next hand I pick up is pocket queens in the big blind. The button is put on a straddle. The under the gun player, middle position, and low jack all limp. I'm going to put in a raise. In the big blind, I need to go a little bit larger. I sized to 45. I could have gone even bigger, maybe to 60. The middle position and low jack make the call. We're headed 3 ways to the flop. 148 in the pot, and the dealer puts out 7, 10, 6. A fantastic board for me. I'm going to keep betting to protect my hand. I make it 75, and the middle position player is the only player that wants to tag along. Almost 3 Benjamins in the pot, and the turn is the 8 of hearts. 4 to a straight on the board. Not a good card. The question is, does my opponent have a 9? Does he have 2 pair? I've seen him play a lot of marginal hands, bluff a lot. He just called $75 pre-flop with 10-6 of clubs, hitting his flush. And so these cards are right in his wheelhouse. I check to him. At first, frozen like a popsicle for a few seconds, and then lunging for chips for the attack. He moves 12 into the middle, goes 60. I don't believe him just yet, especially for the price. I call the 60. The river is the ace of clubs. Things are going from bad to worse. Once again, I check to my opponent. There's already $400 in the pot, and this time the middle position player shoves in 24 reds, $120. There are a lot of hands he could have that beat me. He could also just be trying to steal the pot, like I've seen him do a lot before. This does push my decision a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's $120 to win $538. I think I'm going to win this hand enough times to make this a profitable call. I do call. Maybe this was a terrible decision. He probably flips over a 6, and he has a 5 to go along with it. 1 pair. I'm scooping the pot. Thank goodness. Stacks up to $791 now, and the next hand I pick up is King 10 offsuit in the small blind. There's an under the gun straddle on the pot. It folds to the low jack who limps. So does the hijack. I'm going to get a little aggressive, a little creative myself. I make it 50 when I see the dead money out there. And then the same player, the under the gun player, goes all in for $93. It's only 49 more for me to call. I wish I didn't have to call. I wish I wanted to put in the $50, but here I am with King 10. It's not a terrible hand. So I put in the remaining 49, going for the bounty on the player in seat 1. And the flop comes out ace 4-10. I connect with a 10, but my opponent shows an ace. The turn is the queen of hearts. The river is the 9 of diamonds. No good for me. The villain flips up a 7 to go with the ace. Taking the chips, taking my money, taking the pot from me. 629 in the pile. The next hand I get is Jack 8 of spades. The under the gun player's limped, and the hijack bumps it up to 11. I make the call, and so does the under gun player. We're headed 3 ways to the flop. $37 in the pot, and the dealer puts out 6-5 deuce, 1 spade. The hijack decides he wants to continue betting, make us a $15 continuation bet. I think this is low enough with my 2 overs and my backdoor straight and flush draws that I can make the call. The under the gun player folds. We're going to the turn. It's the 8 of clubs. Now I have top pair on the board. Decent kicker, and the hijack decides to bet 25. I'm just going to make the call. No need to get aggressive. No need to inflate the pot. The river comes out. It's the 5 of clubs. My opponent goes all in for his remaining $50. I make the call, and he flips up 4-3 of clubs, flopped a straight, milked me for pretty good value. Unfortunately, I connected with the 8 on the turn. There was no helping me after the flop came out. On to the next hand, 528 in my stack. This video took hours to edit. It takes less than a second to leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Thank you so much. Let's get right back to the action after I throw away these junkers. I get a beauty. Ace 10 of hearts in the cutoff. The middle position player limps. The hijack bumps it to 12. I think both a 3-bet or a call are all right in this situation. A 3-bet's probably a little bit better. It's always good to put on the aggression, especially in position with a good hand. I make the call, and the small blind makes the call as well. We're headed 3 ways to the flop. $42 in the pot, and the dealer puts out 6-4-10. I hit my top pair. I've been going up and down this session. Maybe I'll connect with this board. Maybe I'll scoop a pot. The hijack bets 25 into me, and I'm just going to play it cool this time as well. I make the call. The turn comes out the ace of spades. Now I have top. Although the ace may be a scare card, may be reason for me to lose a little bit of value on this hand. The hijack isn't concerned at all, though. He puts 45 into the pot. I am a little scared of the spades. I could go for a check raise, but I don't think my hand is quite strong enough. I'm just going to make the call. The river is the queen of spades. 4 spades out there, 2 hearts in my hand, no good for me. This time the hijack bets 80 into the pot. Question is, does my opponent have a spade or not? I look at the pot, 262 in the middle. 80 for me to call. Once again, I'm faced with the decision that I'm leaving up to the pot odds gods. I make the call. My opponent says, good call. Tells me I'm good and mucks his hand. Since he doesn't show, neither do I. Scooping a pot, bouncing up and down like a yo-yo this session. 691 in my stack. I get to catch a breather. I get some impounds that I send off to be crushed. And then the dealer pitches me a card. I love this. He pitches me a card. What could it be? Pocket aces, 2 black aces. The middle position player opens the action at $10. The low jack makes the call. I'm going to put in a 3-bet. I put in a $40 3-bet. There's definitely an argument for me making it larger. I think $50 or $60 is probably more appropriate. I just am probably a little nervous when I get my aces finally that I don't want to scare everyone out of the pot. That's not the right mentality to have. Only the middle position player wants to come along. Heads up action, 94 in the pot, and the dealer puts out 5 king king. 1 king is company, but 2 is a crowd. I don't like it. And so when my opponent checks to me, I'm going to play it safe, play it smart, maybe try to go for 2 streets of value, but there's no need to go to 3. The turn is a 7 of hearts. This time when my opponent checks to me, I'm going to put in just a small bet, trying to milk him for just a little bit. Maybe he won't believe me. Maybe he'll call me with an ace high. He doesn't want to call me, though. He wants to put in a raise. He makes it 60. The old check raise on the turn trick. I kind of buy it. I kind of don't buy it. And at the end of the day, I also have pocket aces. He could be doing this with a lot of hands that I still beat, like pocket jacks, pocket queens. Maybe he does have a king. Maybe he's trying to trap me. At the end of the day, I do have pocket aces. It's only 40 more for me to call into a $174 pot, so I do make that call. And the river comes out. It's the 6 of spades. Brings a little bit of connectivity to the board. Doesn't get any flushes there, but I certainly don't think my opponent hit a gut shot. He does decide to jam 165 in the pot on me, almost a full-size pot bet. Now I'm faced with the same decision I had on the turn. Does he have a king, or does he not have a king? I have pocket aces. I have everything beat except for a king. I want to lay it down, especially when I consider the fact that my opponent check raised me on the turn. It's a pretty sneaky trick. He could be doing that as a bluff, though. Maybe he thinks that I have a weak hand. Maybe he just doesn't think that I have a king. After all this thought, I decide I might as well make the call. I have pocket aces, and so I do make the call, and my opponent flips up the unbelievable hand, ace king of hearts. I had him as a 16-1 dog pre-flop. He hit his 2 kings on me, and he got great value out of me. My chip stack is going up and down like the waves of the ocean. I'm waiting for a big break. And the next hand I pick up is once again pocket queens in the small blind. Unfortunately, only 368 in my stack. The low jack puts in a bet to 13. The hijack makes the call. This time after the pocket aces fiasco, I'm going to juice up my 3-bet a little bit. I make it 55. The low jack wants to tango. He makes the call. 2-way action to the flop. 127 in the pot. And the dealer puts out 8 king 7. Once again, a pesky king on the board. But I'm going to c-bet as if I had one. 35. This time the low jack goes for the same strategy as the previous player. Puts in a min bet. Makes it 70. 35 more for me to call into a $232 pot. Of course, I'm tagging along. The turn is the 5 of clubs. This time I check the option over to my opponent. What does he want to do with his option? He wants to bet 1 Benjamin. I could get away from this hand, but I have pocket queens, and there's only 1 over on me. This is a tough spot to be in. Maybe I should just fold and wait for an easier position, but then again, I also have pocket queens. Maybe he's trying to play me. What would he min raise with on the flop? Did he really have 9-6? I make the call, and the river's a 5 of spades. Doesn't change much. There's already almost $500 in this pot. I check the option to my opponent, and he once again slides 1 Benjamin into the pot, really making me think that he's trying to milk me, really trying to get some value. Maybe he just flopped a set of kings and I'm absolutely demolished, but I think he would have bet a little bigger. There's no way this is a bluff, though. It has to be some sort of value bet. It's only $100 more for me to call into a $600 pot. I know this has kind of been the theme of the entire episode, but I've been really kind of faced with some tough decisions with pretty good value, and so I do make the call. And my opponent once again flips over ace-king. The ace-king is laying into me today, absolutely destroying me. I only have $43 left in my stack, and I donk it off with a Hail Mary. I was planning on taking off, but I dug into my pocket, pulled out another $300, rebought, in for $600 now. Let's see if I can make a comeback. The next hand I get is King 10 offsuit. I must not have learned my lesson from earlier in the session, because when the hijack puts in a bet to 15, I make a completely donkey call. The big blind completes, and we're going to a flop. It's 5-7 king. It checks to me, and I bet $25, and the 2 checkers have no problem calling 25. Both the big blind and hijack do. The turn is the 5 of diamonds. Once again, it checks through to me. This time I'm going to bet again. I bet $75, hoping no one has a 5, protecting my king. I'm playing this whole hand kind of like an idiot. Both players fold. I'm glad I wasn't beat, because I was throwing money into a pot where only a better hand would call me. The next hand I pick up is 5-3 of spades and the low jack, 381 in my stack. And I'm going to open the action. I make it 13 to go. The small blind is the only player that wants to come along. Calls the 12. We're going heads up to the flop. It's 5-ace-3. I've hit my 2 pair. There's an ace on the board. Hopefully the small blind connected with it. Checks to me, and I bet 25. The small blind calls. The turn comes out. It's the 6 of diamonds. When it checks to me, now I'm going to bet up a little bigger. Protect my hand. I go 75, and the small blind wants to come along for the 75 as well. The river comes out. It's the 10 of spades. And when it checks to me, I'm going to go for value one more time. I don't think my opponent has me beat. I think he would have either raised me or led into me at some point on this board. I'm targeting an ace. Hopefully not ace 10, but maybe ace jack, ace 9. I stack up chips, bet 185, sliding it into the center of the pot. The small blind doesn't fold. Hopefully he doesn't put in a raise on me. No, he just decides to call. I flip up my hand, and he shakes his head, flips over his hand. It's ace 9 of diamonds, exactly the hand I was targeting. I probably should have folded pre-flop. My play with both the king 10 and the 3-5 isn't based off of good sound play like I try to always employ. Obviously, I'm being influenced by the fact that I've rebought, probably slightly on tilt. The next hand I pick up is ace jack offsuit on the button, 682 on my stack. Luckily, I've gotten back up into the green. The middle position player calls, and since I'm on the button, I'm going to put in a $15 bet. The small blind makes the call. So does the middle position player. We're going 3 ways to the flop. 48 in the pot, and the dealer puts out 10 jack 6. I have top pair on the board with the best kicker possible. When it checks to me, I put in 6 reds. The middle position player calls the 30. The turn comes the 9 of spades. Some gut shots get there. 10-9, jack 9 connect. But when it checks to me, I'm going to continue betting for value. 60. The middle position wants to come along for 60 as well. He makes the call. 228 in the pot, and the river is the 7 of clubs. Now there's 4 to a straight out there, and the middle position player leads into me 150. This is a great time to bluff. It's also a great time to have a 9. I'm facing tough decisions all session. Now I have to call 150 to win 400. I don't like it, but I make the call. And oh, he flips up queen 8 offsuit, hit his gut shot on the turn. Absolutely miserable. My stack's back down. The next hand I get is 10-7 off in middle position. The under the gun player opens a 20. That's a 7x big blind raise from under the gun, usually an indicator of strength. Tilt brain Kato doesn't care. I throw in 20. The flop comes out 8-6-4. Not a bad flop for me. A double gutter, but with tilt brain, it looks like I just hit 5 of a kind. The under the gun player leads out for 20. I'm just going to play it cool. I make the call. And the turn comes out the 5 of spades. I hit one of my outs. I have the straight, just like the previous hand player did to me. I'm now doing to this player. He might sniff trouble because when he checks to me, I bet 50. But apparently trouble is not what he sniffed because he puts in a raise. He makes it 135. I, of course, am going to jam my whole stack in. 285 to go. He only has 150 behind. He makes a call. 704 in the pot. This is one I need to win. I have the straight. I probably have the best hand here. Maybe it's a chop. The river comes out. It's the 5 of clubs pairing the board, and that's an important note because my opponent flips over pocket 6s, flop the set, river to full house, taking the $704 in the middle. I'm down to a chump change. Once again, I go for a Hail Mary. It doesn't work out. Time for me to pack up my bags. Time for me to leave. Time for me to do the cold hard dash to the exit. In for 600, out for $0. For a loss of $600, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Catch you next time. Kato out.